My name is Eric Sprung. I'm an aerospace physiologist in the Air Force. So I'd like to first and foremost like to thank Rabbi Talton for inviting me to speak here tonight. I'd like to share my story with you guys. So I was flying back from New York City this past Sunday, sitting on the plane, and there was a nice couple next to me, ready to go. We actually had live TV, so I was able to watch the Jets game. Very excited. Our backup QB, Mike White, was coming in. He was going to be our new savior. Looking forward to the game. And the couple next to me had a young baby, and she was crying the entire time. But I was excited for the game, so I was ready to go. Turns out he's not our savior. He threw 4 interceptions. We ended up losing to our division rival Bills, and we dropped them the season 2-7. So it was a tough loss, tough flight. Baby was crying the whole time. But the worst part about it was the Jets fan dad next to me tells his young daughter, I wonder if the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl in your lifetime. And ouch. And I was thinking about telling him, I was like, you know what, that's actually a pretty good message. You want to set the bar, you don't want to get them too excited, right? So, but then after a little bit of deep contemplation, I was like, that's the wrong message for this young girl. We need to tell her to always be optimistic, all right? It's been tough. But I'm going to remain to be optimistic with the Jets, no matter how many incompetencies our team has. So I'm going to continue to do that. Alas, I discovered the takeaway for tonight's event. Pun intended. It is the important message of maintaining hope in our lives. All right. So Jews throughout history have been able to survive generations of persecution thanks to this trait. As the Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, the late former chief rabbi of England, beautifully stated, optimism is the belief that things are going to get better. Hope is the belief that we can make things better. It takes no courage to be an optimist, but it does need courage to hope. Just like the Jets, I have been in some difficult situations throughout my life. But it has actually been being placed in these situations that I've realized some of my greatest life's opportunities. My path after graduating college was anything but linear. I grew up on Long Island, as the rabbi said, with 3 awesome sisters. And in my community, it wasn't very common to join the U.S. military. Growing up, my grandfather served in the U.S. Army at the tail end of World War II, and I wanted to follow his footsteps and join the service. I was always good at science and thought I wanted to be a doctor as a kid, so that was something that I was looking at doing. When I was volunteering with Habitat for Humanity down on a trip down in Alabama, I met a Jewish resident there, and he told me about the Health Profession Scholarship Program. I thought this was a great opportunity for me to serve in the military and get ahead without any kind of financial burden of student loans. During my first 2 years of medical school, I was working really hard. I should skip ahead there. So prior to starting medical school, I actually joined the Air Force. So this was not common in my community. And I told my mom that I was actually signing up through the military. She wasn't too pleased about the whole situation. And then she ended up telling me, politely, get out of the house. All right, so I did what most guys my age would do, and I went to the bar. I went with my friend who I had just gone to the commission ceremony with. At that time, I wasn't really super into beer, but he taught me all about the different types of beers and breweries in my neighborhood. And I was hooked. Love craft beer. Actually, rocking the local San Antonio beer shirt underneath here. So a few weeks later, I went back to that same brewery. And it turns out that I met my beautiful fiance there a few weeks later. So it's kind of funny how things work out, but it was always for the best. By the way, I did work it out with my mom, so that was all right. 2 years into school, I was kind of losing interest in the medical school thing, but I had actually signed up with the Air Force for a service commitment, 4-year service commitment. I wasn't guaranteed a job, so I just wasn't sure what to do. So faced with that situation, I took a trip to Europe with my friends. Couldn't really get a job, so I had 3 weeks hanging out in Europe and just waiting for the job opportunity, waiting for the phone to ring. Luckily, the Air Force gave me a position as an aerospace physiologist down here in San Antonio, and I've been here since July of 2018. Without all the hope, without all the optimism that I've had throughout my life, I wouldn't have been able to meet all my great friends down here through this path. as part of my job, you guys may be curious what an aerospace physiologist does. Truth be told, I didn't know much about it when I first got assigned into it. So I got sent 6 weeks up in Dayton, Ohio, at Wright-Patterson. Did my training there, and I've been over here ever since. We are responsible for training pilots and aircrew on hypoxia recognition. So it looks, if you guys have seen the movie Spaceballs, you know the scene where they're vacuuming out the air, and then that's actually what we do. So we get the pilots hypoxic. We have a spatial disorientation trainer, and I actually do have a chance to fly with the pilots as well. So it's been an incredible opportunity for me thus far. And at this point, I'm actually in the process of doing my DoD skill bridge. So I'm actually transitioning out of the military. It's kind of bittersweet. I've made a lot of great friends and connections here, but I really thinking about all the blessings I've been fortunate to achieve. It's really thanks to all that optimism that I've kept throughout this time. In the next few months, I'll be getting back to New York. My fiance and I are hopefully going to be getting married under the chuppah this coming September. So looking forward to that. So just a message I want to leave with you guys tonight. So in life, we will encounter struggles. I think really the bottom line is, if we maintain our hope, we maintain our optimism, there's no challenge that we can't overcome. So as I light the menorah candles this year, I will be counting all my blessings. Maybe even my jets will have their day in the sun. So thank you very much. Happy Hanukkah.